All right, let's talk some Penn State football and the headway in recruiting with all the camps and the official visits. It is the month of June, and it's time to make things happen.
Yeah, last week they got started with official visits, added again this weekend. Will be throughout the month. Last weekend, some important guys on campus. Lex Cyrus. I mean, again, as I've said for months on here now, if we're going to talk Penn State, probably starts at wide receiver. Lex Cyrus, a four-star prospect from the Harrisburg area, was on campus last weekend. Going to visit South Carolina this weekend, but Penn State should be the heavy leaders there. I would be absolutely stunned if they don't land him. He was a gold medalist in the state 100s last year in track in Pennsylvania as well. So the kid can absolutely fly. So it should be a nice addition to the receiver room. Brandon Finney, a cornerback they hosted last weekend. Finney is an intriguing one. He's probably their top cornerback target from the McDonough School in Maryland. And if you're a Penn State fan, the McDonough School is one you know very well. Curtis Jacobs, PJ Mustaford, Devon Elise. I know I'm forgetting people. That plays. Denai Dennis Sutton, another one, has been an absolute pipeline for Penn State in recent years. So again, they have to weather some other visits there, but Finney has come out and called them his leader, so they're in good shape there. And another guy, excuse me, from last weekend, who they seem to really make an impression with is Corey Sims, a wide receiver from Missouri. Now, Mizzou is going to be tough in that recruitment, especially with the way Mizzou is throwing around NIL money and recruiting right now. But Penn State definitely made an impression there. And, you look ahead to this weekend, some more receivers on campus, Jeff Exener from Maryland and Matthew Otten from Virginia, two guys that I think, Penn State, if they're not the leaders, are definitely top two with, probably battling Virginia Tech in both of those recruitments. Otten is a player I really like. He's a guy that I think a lot of recruiting services don't have properly rated yet. And some of that stems from that he's a kid who's just very quiet. So doesn't do a lot of the camps and that sort of thing, but I think could be an absolute stud for them. And I think, assuming Cyrus does commit in the coming days, which seems like is going to happen, probably starts that domino effect at wide receiver as well. And then you look ahead next weekend is a big one because you have the commits on campus. You're also going to have Andrew Olish, who's an in-state target, top 100 recruit at tight end, as well as Michael Carroll, who's probably their top offensive lineman target, also an in-state recruit who they're neck and neck with Alabama for. So that'll be a big weekend as well, especially getting those two guys, two of your top targets, around your commits, because that's always, peer recruiting can be as effective, if not more effective, a lot of times than anything the coaches are going to pitch. You get around the commits, you get the parents around the parents of commits, and those are the people who can really sell what they love about Penn State and why you should come to Penn State. So should be a busy few weeks here. This weekend, another one to watch was running back commit Keandre Barker, who is originally from Texas, was living in Florida, now in Arkansas, was going to visit Arkansas this weekend. The Penn State seems to have righted that ship. He said he's 110% locked in on Penn State now, will not visit Arkansas. But running back commit Tyke Hayes is currently visiting Stanford. So I think the running back recruiting for Penn State will be intriguing to watch. They're going to host Jabrier Wallace Coleman, who was committed to Georgia for a while from Philadelphia at the end of the month. So that might be one to watch if one of these other guys do flip. But I think if you're a Penn State fan, as long as Jay Siders your running back coach, that's one position you're never going to worry about.
Marty, is the wide receiver need more of a numbers need, or is that just we need a game changer? We need those kind of players?
I think it's a little bit of both. Because I think they're at, I want to say like 8 or 9 scholarship receivers on the roster right now, which is a pretty healthy number. But when you don't know how much confidence you have in guys, it's one of those, especially in the transfer portal era and the NIL era where the scholarship limits aren't nearly as concrete as they used to be. Hey, let's throw numbers at the wall. If we like a kid and we think he can play here, let's bring him in. Because, I mean, you got to think in theory, you sign 4 receivers in a class, you got to think at least 1 or 2 of them are going to pan out. So I think it's a little bit of both. And like I said, this is, to the luck or whatever you call it of Penn State. This is a pretty strong regional wide receiver class this year. I mentioned Cyrus, who's from Susquehanna Township, which we're outside of Harrisburg. They have Lyric Samuel, from New York City, currently committed, who I think Samuel has a very high ceiling, 6'4", can absolutely fly for that size. I mentioned Exenor. I like Otten a lot, as I talked about. So it just, sometimes that's how it goes in recruiting. Like this cycle, for example, the defensive line class in the region is not very good. And it's leaving Penn State really not necessarily scrambling, but that's probably the hardest position to kind of pinpoint what their board looks like in recruiting. They're going to host Jaquez Walker this weekend from Florida for an official visit, but the kids visited Florida like 15 times. So I think you can see the writing on the wall there. But like I said, sometimes you just get lucky. Your region is strong in an area of need. And for Penn State, it's a pretty strong wide receiver class in the region this year. And, that works out well for them because I think it's a little bit of both. We need the numbers. At the same time, they need some playmakers. And with the speed that Cyrus has, Samuel's another kid who can move pretty well. I think you're kind of going for both and just hoping that the mathematical odds tell you at least one or two of these guys should pan out.